Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. It's Megan, and today we are talking my November wrap-up, all of the books that I ended up reading in November. Kicking off, I'm just gonna briefly touch on the book I DNF'd. I started Wolf by Wolf by Ryan Growden. I really tried to get into this one. I started it 2 or 3 times throughout the month. I just could not get fully invested in it. It was not drawing my attention. I read up to like page 200, I believe, before I just kind of gave up. Essentially, this is following a girl who was in the concentration camps when Hitler was in power, and she was chosen as an experiment to test a vaccination of sorts that would give her like lighter skin, lighter hair, bluer eyes, just all the pigmentation of her coloring was lighter to try to fit Hitler's desires, I guess. And she was a child when this happened. However, as a teen, with this vaccine, she has gained the power to shapeshift or face shift, and she can basically adapt the face or appearance of other people. And she also has the ability to time travel, it would seem, because she is adapting the face of a, I'm not sure what the title of the race is called, but it's like a huge bike race that happens, and this girl won the bike race, and after winning the race, Hitler danced with her, which was like a huge deal. So our main character is adapting that girl's face so that Hitler will dance with her and she can kill Hitler. So it sounded so intriguing and I really wanted to like it. I could just not get into it for whatever reason. So I did DNF this one. Next, we will talk on my rereads. In anticipation for reading the second wave of the High Republic first arc, I reread the first wave. Wow, that was a jumble full. So I read Light of the Jedi by Charles Soule. I read A Test of Courage by Justina Ireland, and I read Into the Dark by Claudia Gray. So again, these are the first wave of the first arc of the High Republic. So those were rereads for me, and I loved them just as much, if not more, than my first read of them. My next read was Throne of Glass. It was a reread as well. This was actually part of the Sisterhood of the Traveling Book, where a group of friends and I each sent out our favorite books, and we're like rotating our favorite books, and each of us are annotating it. I did already send out my annotated copy, but I transferred my annotations to my personal copy as well. And I actually enjoyed it more as a reread after finally finishing the series, because I was able to pick up on a lot more of the details and like foreshadowing and that sort of thing. I read a lot of books that I've been wanting to read, but I don't physically own. So first I've read The Maidens. This is by Alex Michaelides, and this is a thriller, suspense, murder mystery in which there is a professor with a group of girls known as the Maidens. They're basically like a fan club of his, and these girls keep dying off one by one in various rituals that are kind of known to be taught by this professor. So we are following a therapist of one of the girls' aunts, I believe is the relation, and she is kind of reviewing what's going on and really pinpointing the professor as this murderer, but there might be something else going on. I personally was not a fan of the twist, and I found it very hard to get into. I thought there was going to be more of that like mythological historical fiction aspect to it, so it wasn't my favorite, but it was pretty intriguing. I ended up giving that one 3 stars. Another one I gave 3 stars was the Xhex. This one was okay. It was cute, it was fluffy, it was a quick read. It just was not my favorite romance. It felt very surface level to me, and when it comes to romance, I love romantic comedies, but I still want my romances to have some depth to them, and some, I don't know if that like depth is the right word. It just did not feel fleshed out fully as far as the romance went, but it was pretty fun. I gave this one 3 stars as well. Then I read Root Magic, which I gave 3.5 stars. This is a middle grade fantasy about 2 young twins who are from a southern like historical fiction time, in which I think segregation is still happening, but the integration into white schools has started happening, and our main characters are being kind of integrated in, and there's obviously the conflict and drama that comes with that, but our 2 main characters are also learning root magic, which is a tradition and trade and skill that has been passed on throughout their family, and there is something going on in this town that seems like a curse or like monsters almost, and our 2 twins, they're only like 11, are trying to learn root magic while this is happening, and there's just a lot going on. It was really cute. It didn't hold my attention the entire time. It did have a bit of a slow start, which is understandable with the world building, so that is why it was 3.5 stars for me. Also, I just don't know if middle grade is really my cup of tea. There's a few I'll really get into, like Kiki's Delivery Service was wonderful, but even Percy Jackson I struggled a bit with just because of this such a young age aspect of it. On to my 4-star reads, I read the Hawthorne Legacy, which is the sequel to The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I'm not going to touch too much on this one just because it was a sequel, but the reason it wasn't a full 5 stars for me was the beginning was a bit slow and I felt very confused about the ending, so I'm definitely gonna have to reread it before I think it's King's Gambit or the Final Gambit or something like that. It's the 3rd book in the trilogy, potentially quartet, coming out next year. Another 4-star for me was God of Neverland. This is actually a NetGalley that I've been trying to slowly read. This one surprised me. I thought that the all the different elements of like mythology and King Arthur and Peter Pan and everything was going to be almost too much and too jumbled, but I think the book actually did a pretty solid job of keeping it all like organized, I guess you could say. My only gripe with the book is that 2 of the characters felt more put into the novel for a drama aspect as opposed to actually having a real reason for being there. And also the ending, one of the main lessons or plot lines of the book is that Michael, our main character, is grieving his friend's passing. I really feel like that could have been concluded better, and I feel like that lesson could have been shown better. But overall, it was really fun. It's essentially Michael from Peter Pan, Wendy's little brother, is now on the hunt to find Peter Pan after he has vanished or disappeared for whatever reason, and Peter Pan and Neverland is dying and kids are losing their imagination. He has to find Peter Pan. Another 4-star for me was Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. This was a really fun novel about like past and present tense romance between like friends to lovers couple. It was a very slow build and it was a slow start for me, but in the end, with each memory and with each kind of snippet that we got to build on that relationship, I just loved it more and more. There was definitely quotes in this book that I really, really enjoyed. Also, if you see me like moving my arm, it's because Domino's right here and he just really wants his pets. I also read Sailor Moon Volume 4, which I believe I gave 4 stars. I was really enjoying this one, and I really liked the addition of meeting Sailor Pluto in this one as well. And finally, onto my 5-star reads. First, I read The Heart Principle by Helen Huang. This is the 3rd book of the Kiss Quotient Companion Trilogy. In this book, we are following Anna, whose boyfriend has just suggested they have an open relationship, and instead of just wallowing in that, she decides she's gonna go have a one-night stand and actually meet other guys, since he's meeting other girls. And then we're also following Quan. He's Anna's one-night stand request on a Tinder-esque app, and he is also looking for a one-night stand because he had cancer, and this left him feeling vulnerable about intimacy. So he figures if he can be intimate with someone for one night and never see them again and get it over with, then maybe he can move on with someone in the future. And of course, once they meet, they fall in love, of course. But I really loved this one. It was my favorite of the trilogy, and the only one of the trilogy I actually kept. Next was Well Matched. This is the third book of the Well Met trilogy. I probably like this one second out of the 3 books so far. In it, we are following April and Mitch. Mitch is going back home for a family reunion and asks April to be his stand-in girlfriend, so it's fake dating, leading to actual romance, and I love both April and Mitch as characters, so this was a really fun read. Next is The Hating Game. I've been meaning to pick this one up for quite some time, knowing that the movie is coming out. It comes out December 10th. I'm so excited. And what are you doing, Domino? Scooting his butt across the carpet. Anyways, in The Hating Game, we are following 2 co-workers who are kind of at the top level on their respective sides of the publishing house, and a new position for a chief operating officer has just been opened, and they are both up for nomination for this position, and they hate each other. It's why it's called The Hating Game, and they have to pretend to be friendly in order to show their teamwork for this position. And it's enemies to lovers. It's so much fun, and I'm really excited to see it in theaters. Then we have the Jasmine Project, which was also a NetGalley for me. And this, we are following Jasmine, who also has a boyfriend that suggested they take a break and see other people and have like an open relationship until the end of summer. However, instead of in the heart principle, Jasmine decides to wallow in this self-pity and just wait for her boyfriend to be done looking at other girls and come back to her. Her family and friends see this and decide to host a bachelorette-esque competition in order to show her her worth. However, the only thing is, Jasmine has no idea it's happening. This was so much fun. It was chaotic. The family was crazy, and I was actually surprised by it, which doesn't often happen with romances, so I really love this one. Sorry, I just had a coughing fit, so sorry that I look like Rudolph right now. But the final book I read in November, it's actually not the final book, but it's actually the first book I read, and my favorite book was Kingdom of the Curse by Carrie Maniscalco. This is the second book to Kingdom of the Wicked, and oh my gosh. I'm literally speechless. I can't stop thinking about this book. I'm already ready to reread it. One of my favorite books of the year. Kingdom of the Wicked was good, but Kingdom of the Curse just went to a whole new level. And like, when they say people write books for you, like, this book I feel like was written for me. Not necessarily like in a soul appreciation way, but just it was so entertaining and so good and exactly the tropes I like, and it was just amazing. So I highly recommend Kingdom of the Curse if you haven't picked it up yet. And then honorable mention goes out to Blood Witch and Kingsbane, because I worked on those in November but did not even come close to finishing them. So yeah, those are the books that I read in November. Let me know what you guys read, and I'll check you in my next one. Bye, friends!